finally made it to the northernmost town in the world, Longyearbyen, Svalbard.
Svalbard adventure. This is where you come if you want to do something that's out there.
I think many of us, we moved to Svalbard because of the adventure, the extreme, the Arctic, the nature and everything. But the reason why we stay here, I've been here for 25 years, it's the society.
The people that I meet every day as someone working at the guest house.
Big difference between summer season and winter season. It's like living in two different places. Not very easy to live up here with the dark season, but I love it.
Just because it's such a remote place, there's so much emptiness.
I think the last time I saw, we were more than 50 nations represented in the city.
For me, who have been here nearly 40 years now, think back what triggered me to stay in Svalbard is what's that kind of community that everyone's taking care of each other.
48 extremely long hours of travel later, and I am finally in the northernmost town in the world, Longyearbyen, Svalbard. As you can see, it's dark right now, and the sun actually does not rise here for 4 months of the year in the winter. And that honestly is one of the craziest things I had ever heard, which made me decide I needed to come here and see it for myself. One of the most unique things about Svalbard is there's no visa required to live or work here, so everyone that comes to this place is choosing to for a specific reason, and I am so excited to get to know all of these stories and meet so many people. I've already connected with some of the most open, friendly, and welcoming people I've ever met in my life, and I know I will continue to over the next week, so come along on the adventure. Today is my first day in Svalbard, and I don't think it's quite hit me that I am in the northernmost city in the world, practically at the North Pole. I am currently on my way to meet up with a woman named Marie, who over the past year with her boyfriend has started a business roasting specialty coffee from around the world here locally in Svalbard, and they sell it to businesses and tourists who come and visit the island. We are meeting at the Husky Cafe, which is probably one of the most popular places up here in Svalbard. It is such a unique place and something you would only find here. There are huskies running around for you to play with while you drink your coffee, and I am so ready to see what it's all about.
We were in northern Sweden, and then we just wanted to see something else, and we were always interested about this place that is so remote and so different. One of our friends was working for a company here with the dogs, so the sled dogs, so we just moved here and then started working with the dogs. My boyfriend mostly was always very interested in coffee and specialty coffee. When we arrived here, in general in all Scandinavia, the coffee quality is not
very good, yeah.
Good. First we thought about having a tiny roaster, maybe here and there, and then a lot of people were interested, so we bought a 10-kilo roaster.
So where do you do the roasting?
In a container that is outside Longyearbyen. That's kind of funny because when we go roasting or when I go packing, I need to bring a rifle there.
Really? Oh, because it's outside of town, yeah. Wow.
So we're carrying a rifle around.
Have you seen any polar bear out around?
We do have a picture from the owner of that container with the polar bear just
really?
next to it.
Oh, wow.
That was a few years ago. You do not see so many polar bears around town. But we've seen a few on like snowmobile trips. And
okay. I am currently getting ready right now to go on a tour of Svalbard today. I've only been here for a couple days so far, so this is something I am so excited for. I reached out to a ton of people before I actually got to Svalbard. One of them actually offered to give me a tour today.
My name is Andrea. I'm coming from Italy. Been living in Norway since 2011 and since 17th of July 2022 living on Svalbard. I start to see some amazing pictures on Instagram about Svalbard and Longyearbyen, so I fallen literally in love with this place, and after many years of trying to get a job. I finally got it. One of the best things I ever done in my life. I'm very happy to live up here. Something happened to the polar bear guard. He haven't seen the polar bear coming from the water, and this polar bear went inside the tent, and he tried to jump on him because they want to understand what we are.
Yeah.
We don't really know what...
Yeah, because they don't see humans too often.
It never seen us. They don't know what we are, so they have to understand. And of course, it's 500 kilos polar bear jumping on a person, which it could be 80 kilos. He died after at the hospital because of all the concussion he had, so unluckily. And that was, I think, the last person who died because of the polar bear. I think it was 3 years ago. That's the sign, which it means Gjelde hele Svalbard. After this point, it might be almost mandatory that you need to go, if you're walking, of course, you need to have your rifle. It's pretty easy to have a rifle up here, just for polar bear protection. If you want to have the rifle for hunting, it's a little bit more difficult. But here it's very recommended to have the rifle. Of course, you can't really shoot the polar bear.
Yeah.
It's like you have to scare him before with a flare gun or shooting on the air with a rifle. But if the polar bear is normally going away, but if it doesn't and is pointing you, but I think it's 50 meters, you have to shoot him.
So we are currently outside of the Global Seed Vault, and this is one of the things I have been so excited to see. We saw the Global Seed Vault, which I had heard so much about before coming here. They house over 1 million seed samples from around the world in case of any emergency, and they have been used before in places where there is weather problems or conflict. After finishing up at the Global Seed Vault, we went to the world's northernmost fuel station. It consists of just one singular pump, and this is the only gas station in town. After that, we went to the world's northernmost cemetery, but you can no longer be buried here or anywhere in Svalbard. Then the port, which in the summer can bring up to 3,000 people a day, so more people than even live in town. And after, we went to the church, and the church is absolutely beautiful and also doubles as a communal gathering space for the people here, because there really is no other big, large spaces to gather and hang out. I went there one night with a bunch of people I met at the hostel. One of the guests played piano, and it was a great time. And it also is a beautiful view. It sits up on this hill overlooking town. I was expecting just a short tour around the town, but we spent about 3 hours exploring. It turned out to be my favorite day that I've had so far here in Longyearbyen. So today I am doing one of the activities I've been most excited for the entire time I've been in Svalbard. I am going snowmobiling. So it turns out snowmobiling is absolutely not for me. I was on the snowmobile for about 30 seconds before we had to go down this little hill. It was very steep though, and they didn't really teach us how anything worked before we got on it. I told them I had never drove one before, but they just showed us how to turn it on and we were on our way. So we go to start making it down this hill, and I'm a little bit behind everyone, so I guess I just didn't see quite how they took it, and I did not do it the right way, and all of a sudden I am in the air within my first 30 seconds on the snowmobile, which was absolutely terrifying. I knew it was bad, but it really scared me when the guide came running over. Like, he got off his snowmobile so fast, ran over, made sure I was okay. And yeah, after that I had the death grip, so nervous. I can't say one good thing about snowmobiling. Today I'm really excited to hopefully redeem my experiences with adventurous activities up here, because I'm going dog sledding with the Huskies and on a hike this evening. I've got all my gear on. We're about to get on the sled soon. We're just meeting them now, getting to play with them a little bit before we get on the sled.
My name's Liam. I'm a guide here on Svalbard, so dog sledding guide here. And so I've been guiding for the last sort of five years, and with Australia being my main sort of home base, that's where I grew up. The reason I like dog sledding is because no day is the same. You don't ever get, even if you have the same dogs, the same guides, the guests are different and the dogs are different, the weather is different. No 2 days are the same, and the dogs will test you for it. If the dogs are having a bad day, they will make you work. They will make you work. And but it's extremely rewarding, and you have 125 dogs to cuddle whenever you want. And so it's really, really good. And when you're out there with the dog sledding, as you experienced today, you feel like an explorer.
What's your favorite memory so far from being here?
Favorite memory from being here so far? I won't explain who it was in case people don't want to go with him, because we got the boat stuck.
Oh no.
And yeah, no, that one's good. That one's good. Yeah. So far, I went out with a friend who shall remain unnamed and went out in his boat out fishing. So fishing, big passion of mine. I was very excited to go out fishing. And we dropped a couple people off on the beach to go explore one of these huts. Now there's a lot of huts and trappers' cabins around, in and around the shore and the coastline. And anyway, so they walked off, and we dropped them off, and they were going out and exploring this cabin. We gave them obviously, you know, flares and things like that, and we were polar bear watch whilst we were fishing. And as they were going around exploring, the weather was starting to get a little bit more windy, and the waves were getting a little bit bigger. And where we were actually dropping them off was very shallow. The water here drops off very quickly. And so we were having a great time. We were catching lots of fish, having a good fun. And then it was time to pick these guys up. But they had taken quite a long time to get ready. So we came in to pick them up, and the boat got thrown up onto the beach sideways. Now during this time, we're like, oh no, boat's stuck, tide's going out, jumped out, and we were trying to push it off. Now, I had no waterproof gear on, so I was already wet at this point. And the boat was getting thrown further and further up on the beach, and we're all trying to push the boat off. So I remember at one point, I thought, well, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm either wet on the beach for 6 hours for help, or really wet and we get the boat off and it's an hour drive back. I waded up to just before my waist. So there was 3 of us right up into the water pulling the boat off. We finally got the boat free and decided, you know, to drive the hour back. What I didn't anticipate though was just how cold that hour back would be. And I've been very cold quite a few times. This makes the top 5 times. And the shower afterwards to warm up was one of the most painful experiences I've had.
Yeah.
But the fishing was worth it 100%. All the bird life was still on the water, so I had all the puffins flying around, had lots of cod, there was whales.
I've been back for a couple hours, and now I'm about to go on my next adventure very soon. I made it here and I'm about to begin the hike.
Hi, I'm Jonathan. I've been working here as a guide for 2.5 years now. And I'm going to take Emma out on a mountain trip today, which will be exciting.
Very exciting. Everyone else on the tour decided to back out because of the conditions. We got to the top, it was about -20 degrees Fahrenheit. So temperatures unlike anything I have ever experienced in my life. And this is only my 2nd time seeing snow. So I don't know the first thing about how to walk up a mountain in snow, especially when it gets to the point where it is almost waist deep. We didn't quite make it to the top because of the conditions. I also lost my spikes on the way up, which just made things very difficult, but it was absolutely worth it, and I am so glad I tried it. And one day I'll be back here to conquer that mountain. There isn't many clips because everything was just shutting down. It was so cold. I'm really grateful for the experience, and yeah, I think it'll go down as the most memorable one here in Svalbard. Today is my 2nd to last day in Longyearbyen and the day I've been waiting for. I'm about to go meet the mayor of the northernmost town in the world.
My name is Terje Aunevik. Just being elected as mayor in Longyearbyen. I grew up as a kid in southern part of Norway. But as soon as I got the driving license, I tend to move up north. So I started with dogs, sled dogs, and then I moved and I did, you know, long distance racing. So I brought all my dogs, 32 dogs, and everything I owned here in '98. And together with a friend, we started a tour company, based in Spitsbergen. And after a while I sold the dogs, started a logistic company, and I worked there until we sold that one, and now I'm a new career kind of. So I'm fresh in this office. I've been here since 1st of November. So it has been a lot of hard work, because we have the election in October, 1 month later than on mainland, and we have to deliver the budgets during beginning of December. So it has been night and day work until that. But what we are in the middle of a change of energy system in Longyearbyen now. So energy transition is what I feel is the biggest task we will have to work with. The political ambitions for Svalbard is that it should be one of the best protected or managed wilderness areas in the world. And it would, I think it's a bit weird that we don't follow up with the same ambitions when it comes to energy production. And it is actually possible for us to make if not a zero emission, because that's a bit difficult term, at least to be close to zero emission production of energy. But if there is one place on Earth we should actually do some symbolic politics when it comes to emissions, it's here. And why? It's because Longyearbyen has, compared to the size of the society, we probably have we are having the most visitors of decision makers, VIPs, high profile persons coming here, because Svalbard is so exotic. It's the most modern and urban kind of, as you probably have seen. It's a bit surrealistic how urban this society,
as far as it's so remote.
Exactly. And that makes it's very attractive to visit. And if you had seen the list of weird high rank people coming here, you would be surprised. When it comes to energy, I think if let's have high ambitions and show the world that what you can do here. If we can make it here, you could do it anywhere.
Right. And people are watching and paying attention to what you're doing
Exactly.
here,
And the focus for the Arctic is, extremely high. Even though we are a small society, we have more than close to 200,000 people visiting us every year, and we could give them a very good example and a message to bring back home.
With all the Arctic wildlife around, this is more of a fun question. Have you had any memorable experiences? Because you've been here for quite a few years, so what experiences stand out to you?
Of course, polar bears is always, and being a dog musher, you have fantastic and natural experiences all the time. But I remember once we have a cabin, our family, and when the kids were small, we were out in this cabin, and this was a period where there was a lot of sea ice, and when there is sea ice, the chance of seeing the polar bears is much higher. And we had been out driving snowmobile, and then we went into the cabin and made the fire in the fireplace. And my girlfriend, she was standing with our youngest son. He was a baby then, and was looking in the window and said, "Oh," and I remember, and I was making the fire, and she said, "Well, there was no polar bears today." I was talking to the kid, and suddenly she just screamed because there was a polar bear underneath the cabin just came out. The exact same moment when she said, "Oh, there has been no polar bears today," and she got so excited and a bit scared, and also she screamed, and the polar bear got really scared and just blasted off.
Really?
That was day one, and day two we started a fire outside, and we were doing a barbecue. And then we saw a polar bear coming, and it was passing, and we were looking, but it was quite a long, safe distance. So we were looking at it, but then we got this weird experience, which was really a bit mind-blowing and a reminder on how you should act. Suddenly, I heard a neighbor. We have a neighbor there. He he was shouting, "Well, there is another one coming!" And we didn't, because we were so focused on the one down at the coastline. And just beside the cabin there came a second one.
Wow.
So, and we were running into the cabin. Yeah.
So do you just go inside then? And
Then we just and we try to scare them off,
Yeah.
because it's important to actually scare them off,
Yeah.
not only for our own protection, but also to how shall I say, learn them not to enter
Come
into
closer,
Exactly,
yeah. I'm so incredibly happy with how it went. I just walked into the building next door and it happens to be the shopping mall, so I stopped to get a quick little pastry and a tea. There are clothing stores, there's a pharmacy, there's stuff for souvenirs, and pretty much everything you could think of. I am now on the main street of town. There isn't too much to see, but I'll give you a little tour. This right here is the mayor's office where I had my meeting, and next to me is the post office. Walking a few steps further, then I pass the mall and the liquor store. Then just a bit past the mall and right next to the liquor store is the main store that has groceries. Also attached to the mall is one of the most popular bars and restaurants in the city. Right behind me next to the store is a cross between a cafe, a souvenir shop, and the cinema. And across from that is a place where you can pretty much get any winter gear. And here is the end of the main strip, another popular bar called Svalbard. And then down here a little bit more is all hotels and apartments and places to stay. There is of course a couple things off the main strip like the Husky cafe and some of the tour companies, but for the most part this is where everybody does all of their daily things. It's quite busy out here today. It's just so crazy to think I have been in Svalbard now for about 2 weeks, and today is officially my last full day, but I'm really looking forward to it. The morning is starting with a trip to the brewery here.
Well, my name is Robert Johansen. I'm been up here in Svalbard nearly, 34 years now. I'm from the Lofoten Island, down in Norway. I don't really know what's Svalbard. I ended up here in 1982 in a coal mine. You know, the coal company that I was working in have a plane that they was using to fly to a coal mine is far away from. It's called Svea. It's a coal mine. It's 20 minutes flying time from here. And the pilot there asked me to take a commercial license to take over that because he was retired. And I get over to Sweden and took my commercial license there and get back. And then the coal mine was it was nothing more in Svea. So so they stopped the flying. I had the commercial license then, and then I started up with a seaplane company in Lofoten Island. Because in the summertime I was flying in the west coast of Norway as a sea pilot for small companies and tourist industry and that kind of. So I starting up my own company and have 2 planes in Lofoten Islands for 9 years, and then they were starting up the coal mine up in Svea again, and they need pilots 2001, and have been there until May last year. It was my last flying. I was starting flying up here in 1983, and in 2023 I was the end of the flight.
Wow.
For 40 years.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So how did you end up then here at the brewery?
Well, it's a long story. I think it was in 2008. 2008, I have a friend down in Norway that have been starting up with a brewing, and then I started up to brew myself because it was very good. The beer that he presented me was really good. It was better than the beer they buy in the shops. And then I found out, okay, I have time, spare time when I'm done, because when I was flying here, it was 4 weeks on and 4 weeks off.
Okay, so you had some free time then, yeah.
So I started up at home with that, and also was thinking about maybe I should start up with some kind of brewing up in Svalbard. It could be something. As a coal miner, I knew that it was.
It would be popular, yeah.
And then I took contact with, the governor up here, and he told me, no, it's not allowed. You know, it's an old law from 1928 that said that it's not allowed to make any alcohol up on the island. Oh, then the short version of this is that then I was thinking, okay, what should I do with that? Should I leave it or should I try to? I sent a mail to Department of Norway and asked them if they can change the law. And it took 5.5 years. The law was changed in 1st of July 2014, I think. In August 2015, the brewery was open.
So you had to be very patient then.
Yeah, well, yes, it was. It was a woman in the other end in the department that had the case. So I told myself that so she's not forgetting this. Then I called her every month for 5.5 years. I've never been starting up this in Tromsø or down in Norway. Started up and make it happen up here, the world's Northernmost brewery and that kind, and a history around this, where we are and that kind of, the world don't need one more beer, but a good story. That's something. So. Like a small brewery, as we are getting the malt in 25 kilo, and it's from Finland. It's the Northernmost maltery. You have the brew house. It's we're getting out 2,400 liter, and then we are crushing the malt and getting it up in this, what we call a mesk barrel that we have 76 degrees of hot water, and taking out the sugar in the bottom. After 1 hour cooking, then we are cooling the beer down, pumping the beer up to the tanks, and here you have the cooler.
What an incredible morning. It was so amazing meeting Robert. He seriously had so many stories. Now next I'm meeting Angie. She works at the guest house I'm staying at, and her and I have been talking for quite a while before I actually got here. I think she was like one of the first people that I really connected with from Svalbard, and I am really excited to dive deeper into her whole journey. So I'm here now at Angie's apartment.
Yes, so my name is Angie and I live in Longyearbyen. I come from the Philippines originally, but I have been living here since 2018.
And how did you make the decision to move up here?
It's not really a very interesting story. And it was because of love.
Love is always an interesting story.
Yeah. So I met someone when I was in the Philippines. He was a family friend of our relatives who are also living in Norway. Got to know each other, and eventually we ended up liking each other. And so we got into a relationship, and then he went back to Norway and I was in the Philippines. We were long distance relationship, and then he came back. At some point he got a job in Svalbard, and he asked me if I was willing to come and visit him and maybe live with him technically, like one day. So I said, of course, it's Philippines. It's like we don't have snow and everything like that, so it was exciting for me.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, sure, we can try. We can try to like process the papers and things like that. And if it works out, then maybe that means that
it's meant to be.
Yeah, it's meant to be. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we started fixing the papers, and because it's not like I live in other parts of Europe or in
So
in
it's a little
Malaysia
harder,
or my passport is not that strong, so then we have to fix papers. And then it was successful, then I was able to come. And then so it took me 4 months to get the job, and it was Gjestehuset. So I have been working for
the same place,
for the same place for like 5 years now. I really love it still, even now after 5 years of working at the guest house. It just has a special place in my heart. I really enjoy like talking to the guests and being part of their journey up in the Arctic, because it's a really special place for them. So for me, it's very important to connect with them. I want them to feel at home, that they have someone they can talk to or with if they have some questions, and not feel like they are in a strange place.
And then my last question is, for everyone around the world who hasn't heard of Svalbard, what would you want to tell them about what it's like here?
Come on! Stay at the guest house.
Absolutely.
That there is no other place in the world so far north which still can offer this urban qualities.
Yeah, just if you are a bit adventurous and you want to come and do something different for your holidays, and maybe a little bit out of your comfort zone, then that's a good place.
It's dangerous to come here because you tend to get bitten by the what we call the polar bacil. Very many that comes here, they tend to come back.
Come up here, come to the end of the world.